Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 22 days away from its official release by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas, Disney, and Lucasfilm, that is all set and ready to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 that a lot of fans are either very worried about or very excited about has all to do with exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to utilize all the different connections to the prequels, the originals, and existing canon and Star Wars lore that's going to really tell the actual story of the movie for characters like Rey and Kylo Ren. That's going to benefit from many of those connections to the prequels and the originals. Now, obviously, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are taking many different risks with this movie by inserting many different pieces of nostalgia based from, Star Wars Legends or the originals, the prequels, you name it, in order to really make it feel interconnected and as if it is indeed the true culmination of the Skywalker saga. Now, not just that, we also know that J.J. Abrams plans to make this by far the darkest Star Wars film there is out of the entire Skywalker saga. Now, with that being said, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and what's really intriguing has all to do with the character of Anakin Skywalker, Palpatine, Rey, and even Kylo Ren. Now, specifically, shot descriptions consisting of a sequence where it's explained that both Rey and Ben Solo are said to be put into a force-freeze state by Palpatine inside of his throne room, where it's explained that both Ben Solo and Rey are now being used by Palpatine as a vessel to draw the energy from them to rejuvenate himself into a more youthful state, to the point where he will be able to battle both Rey and Ben Solo and to destroy the First Order and the Resistance in space from above. Now, it's explained that one of the sequences is said to involve a moment in which Ben Solo is described to eventually ignite Leia's lightsaber, where this is where he begins to fight Palpatine in a one-on-one lightsaber duel, while Rey is on the ground unconscious within the world of Exegol. While both Ben and Palpatine engage in a Force duel, where Palpatine initiates Force lightning against Ben Solo, it's said that this is where Ben Solo dies. It's explained that as Ben Solo falls to his death, Rey begins to hear a voice reaching out to her. This voice is said to be of Anakin Skywalker reaching out to Rey, telling her to stand up and fight. It's explained that Rey actually hears some encouraging words from Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost while she is knocked out, where she begins to wake up and begins to feel an increase in power, where this is explained to be Anakin Skywalker using the netherworld of the Force and utilizing a power that will let other Force Ghosts become a part of Rey. This is all said to be made possible because of Anakin Skywalker within the third act of the film, where Anakin is said to use a power that comes from the Wills, who are godlike beings, where Anakin is the one who discovered this power to provide help to the mortals and to transfer the energy of themselves within Rey. Without Anakin Skywalker, it's explained that none of this would be made possible, and is said to be a power that allows Rey to destroy Palpatine once and for all by pushing the Force lightning back at him. After Anakin uses this power, it's said that Rey is now permanently connected to the Force Ghosts in a unique way, where they are said to become a part of her spirit in the film's final scene. Also, it's noted that Anakin Skywalker was also only able to use this power on Rey since she studied the Journal of the Wills that she took from Luke's tree library on Octu during the events of The Last Jedi. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, in case you guys did not know, obviously J.J. Abrams wants to really introduce many different pieces of Jedi and Sith lore, as well as Force lore in this film, that's really going to tie into many of the vital scenes in Episode 9, that's going to be used in quite dramatic ways just like this, that's going to give us a better sense of what's going on here. I want to go over the third act of the film that involves both Ben Solo, Rey, and Palpatine inside of his throne room on the world of Exegol, that is said to include a sequence in which Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost is going to help Rey at a certain point in time. Now, this is Anakin's role in the third act of Episode 9. It's a very interesting scene because this is said to be the moment in which Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost voice reaches out to Rey and guides her through the ways of the Force, and even delivers some encouraging lines of dialogue that actually allows her to stand back up because he's actually lending her some energy from the netherworld of the Force. What I like about this, though, is that this power, if it weren't for Anakin Skywalker, it would not be made possible to actually be used for Rey, because Anakin has this link with Rey since she actually studied the Journal of the Wills, and Anakin knows the knowledge of the Wills and this specific power that can be used in the netherworld. Now, what I like about this, too, is that this is exactly how Anakin Skywalker is going to tie into the inspiration of the original scripts of George Lucas's, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, where you had, of course, Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi's Force Ghost, basically protecting Luke Skywalker from Palpatine, electrocuting him to death, where they blocked the Force lightning. Now here, they took inspiration from all of that, but what's really interesting is that here, Anakin Skywalker is said to be the one responsible that allows other Force ghosts of the past to become a part of Rey as well. He is said to be the one that initiates this new power that's going to add a new medium to the franchise that we have never seen before. Again, this movie is full of new different powers for Rey, Kylo, Palpatine, and even others in the movie. Palpatine has the Force Conduit technique, and Anakin is going to have a power that allows him to transfer many different pieces of energy over from the netherworld into Rey's body. And that's going to be a very interesting touch to the franchise, because I think that a lot of fans are going to react to that in different ways. I think that a lot of fans, at the end of the day, really have always wanted to see exactly how powerful the netherworld really is, and exactly how it can really benefit a mortal over in the mortal world. Now, this final battle between Rey, Palpatine, and Ben Solo, I think is going to also be quite divisive, and I'll actually go over that in just a second, because there's going to be a segment in the film in which Rey is able to utilize this power and kill Palpatine in no more than 10 seconds. That's how long the final battle is between both Rey and Palpatine. It's actually said to be almost around the same exact screen time, or same exact length, if you will, of the battle between Kenobi and Darth Maul on Tatooine, where Darth Maul actually meets his demise. And that was a very short duel. It was practically nothing, and that's exactly what we will be getting between Rey and Palpatine. It's going to be a very fast sequence, and Palpatine's death is going to go by like that. Basically, she pushes the Force lightning back at Palpatine, and he essentially disintegrates into nothing, vanishing into thin air. And I think a lot of fans are actually going to criticize that, because we've seen Palpatine go up against Mace Windu, Yoda, some of the most powerful Jedi that we have seen on the Council in Revenge of the Sith, getting killed. Out of all people, even if she is connected to the Force Ghost, I still think that what they should have done is they should have had both Rey and Kylo Ren combine their forces with the netherworld of the Force, and that would have made more sense. In my own opinion, that would have made more sense, because they are the positive and the negative of the Force itself. Hence why he's able to use them as a battery, in a sense, to rejuvenate his own body, to become in a more youthful state and become far more powerful than ever before. So, J.J. Abrams, this is obviously one of his crazy, wild ideas that he wanted to do in order to incorporate Anakin into the third act of Episode 9, as well as other Jedi, like Luke, Leia, and even Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. And it's also said that Ezra Bridger and Ahsoka Tano will be extra Jedi Force Ghost voices that will be a part of that particular scene, where they also become a part of Rey. Hence Luke Skywalker stating, "1,000 generations live in you now." And I think that a lot of fans also are going to react to that in a different sense, because this, to some people, may not seem like Star Wars. This may seem like Star Wars of what you would see in a comic book or a graphic novel or anything around those lines, but not in a live-action Star Wars movie. But again, like I say, it's all a matter of execution. It's all a matter of how it's going to be done on the big screen and how it's really all going to unfold that will determine how it's going to resonate with fans and exactly how well it's going to be on the big screen, right? So this movie does have a lot going for it. The last thing I just want to touch on here real quick that really does, mind boggle me is that Palpatine gets killed so fast. The fact that he dies no more than 10 seconds into the battle against Rey, I think it's going to cause quite a stir between Star Wars fans. I honestly do. The fact that he dies so very fast by the hands of Rey, I think is going to be a very debatable scene on whether or not it's good or bad, depending on how the pacing is and how the visuals are and how the acting and music is during that moment. But anyways, with that being said, guys, I would love to hear what each and every one of you have to say about this particular moment at the end of the third act of Episode 9. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.